Disclaimer, this content of this video is for informational and educational purposes only. All this video discusses related interpretations of analysis that are numerous news reporting sources that are not intended to be very misleading or harmful to any individual or group of people. All events, facts, and information based on publicly available information and inaccuracies are untrue. This video is not sponsored by or affiliated with any individual organization or company.
So the talk about cults in Singapore are nearly close to none, with the most recent news being in 2020, where 9 men and 12 women of the unregistered Singapore chapter of the South Korean cult Shin Cheonji Church of Jesus and the Church of the Tabernacle of the Testimony were arrested. And from the Singapore Census of Population 2020, only 20% of the 5.69 million citizen population in Singapore did not believe in any religion. The start. Now, since there's probably not much information about cults in Singapore for the Singaporean people, imagine being told by your Lord that to cultivate good karma, you had to give her your salary, move in with her, and tend to her. And hey, maybe you need that money for your own living expenses. But if you refuse, she would force you to eat human feces as punishment and have your tooth forcefully extracted with a pair of pliers. So that was the reality of the 30 followers of the Singaporean cult-like group founded by the now 54-year-old woman Wu Mei Ho. This cult has no name or official title. This was said to have started in 2012, almost 13 years ago, where Wu found her victims and those that believed in a spiritual leader in India. Some sources state that Wu convinced victims she could communicate with the gods and spirits, getting them to call her Lord, while other sources state that she had pretended to be the embodiment of an Indian goddess. It is said that they had regular and lengthy spiritual sessions which could have contributed. So while researching about this, on the r/Singapore subreddit where someone posted the article of her sentencing, someone commented that they knew someone that was part of her group. This is all alleged, and since it's from a comment of a Reddit post, take it with a grain of salt. I know one of her followers, and she told me stories of so many miracles she was able to perform that was unexplainable, and that's what drew them in. She would always be able to predict the winning 4D number, or some unexplainable spiritual activities, like they heard screams of ghosts in a public HDB car park where only her and her followers can hear. Nobody around them noticed despite it being painfully loud. This follower was wooed by her for 2 whole years with countless miracles as evidence before she believed. The Singapore 4D is a popular lottery game, and most Singaporeans live in this type of flat called HDBs. Wu would control her followers by getting some of them to move in with her and serve her on a full-time basis. So this includes buying her groceries, cooking for her, cleaning her house, and driving her around. And this is all presumably for free. Most of her followers came to her seeking to heal themselves or their relatives. So Wu would tell her followers that they needed to clear their bad karma and build good karma by sending money to Amma. Wu claimed that she would gather the donations and send them to India for projects like buying cows and building temples and schools, which went to her pockets instead. She would also direct her followers to purchase properties and vehicles as a form of worship, which she used for her own benefit. Some of them were ordered to quit their jobs, and all of them had to report their daily activities to her. The timeline of reported crimes. Between early 2013 and early 2015, Wu tricked one follower into giving her $3.5 million total, after lying that she had to sponsor the expansion of a school built by Amma at Vellore village in India. I doubt any of this money actually went to him at all. Between March 2016 and May 2019, she cheated a woman into handing over $57,780. Wu allegedly lied to the victim that she had to pay part of the interest for a $500,000 loan which Wu had secured from an unlicensed moneylender. The loan was purportedly for a down payment over the purchase of a landed property in Bedok. In early 2016, Wu moved into a 4-story house accompanied with a skylight, a built-in lift, and 7 bedrooms in Jalan Waringin near Kembangan with her fleet of followers. The nights were quickly filled with weekly chanting, singing, and the beating of a drum late into the night. A female neighbor said it would begin at 9:30 p.m. and continue late into the night, sometimes until 6 a.m. the next morning. Soon, residents began to notice strange things. A male neighbor said groups of people had begun to gather at the house late at night. Quote, "The activities were a bit weird. They would all gather at the open area on the top floor of the house where there's a pool, and sing and play a drum from the evening till past midnight. Initially, because of the symbols on their gate, I thought it was a religious thing. But then it didn't make sense to me because the activities were only conducted late into the night and never in the daytime." End quote. Another female neighbor said the group of about 30 people would all be dressed in white on the top floor of the house. She once saw a woman crying uncontrollably while walking up and down the road in the middle of the night, but did not approach her as she, quote, did not want to be a busybody, end quote. Wu had also invited them several times to the house for Chinese New Year, during which there were performances by a lion dance troupe. Several of the neighbors had actually gone, with 2 neighbors saying that the celebrations appeared normal. That was when they learned that her group would introduce themselves as fruits like apple, pear, mango, pineapple. They claimed to be the reincarnation of fruits and said that they prayed to Amma. It was quite scary how close physically some of the neighbors were to the group, and they didn't seem to spot anything amiss enough to call the police. May 2017. Cheated a third woman into handing over a bracelet worth $13,000 after lying that she was collecting money to sponsor the building of a temple in India once again. February 2018. Cheated a fourth woman into giving $27,000 cash for the payment of a condominium unit at the Tapestry in Tampines and forced someone to swallow human feces as punishment at a Punggol Central flat. In August or September 2019, Wu used a pair of pliers to forcefully extract a tooth from a woman, causing permanent disfigurement to her face. She was allegedly stabbed in the arm with a pair of scissors, hit with canes, and in October 2019, this victim was helping to move items from an office with another follower. Wu found out that the victim had borrowed $100 from someone without telling her and grew angry. She instructed the victim to jump down from the second floor of the building. The woman climbed over a railing there but was frightened and began to cry. Wu told her that if she did not jump, the other follower would push her down. Eventually, the victim jumped, landing on both feet to excruciating pain and collapsing. Wu told her to stop pretending and to stand up. She later got the other follower to retrieve a wheelchair from the office for the victim to sit in. The victim sought medical help only after a delay, as she was not allowed to do so. She was diagnosed with fractures of both ankles and plantar fasciitis. Wu is said to have also poured essential oils into the victim's left eye and twisted her left ear until it bled. September 2019. Hit a 6-woman's mouth several times with a soup ladle, breaking one of her teeth at a landed property in Bedok. Late September 2019. Used pliers to break several of the 40-year-old woman's teeth at the same landed property. October 18, 2019. Caused grievous hurt to the same woman at the flat along Kaki Bukit Avenue 4 by using a paint roller brush to hit the back of her head and hand. The victim suffered a fracture. Around 2019, a neighbor said that she had begun to see some of Wu's followers sitting outside the house with a cast on their leg or their arm. Quote, I asked if they were okay, but they would look away and not answer me, or they would say they had slipped and injured themselves. End quote. December 2nd, 2019. Forced somebody to swallow human feces at the same flat. During the same period, Wu is said to have cheated another follower of $2.5 million by claiming the funds would be used to build a temple. Court documents also showed Wu had convinced multiple devotees to donate more than $800,000, claiming she would use the funds to purchase cows. She told some of her followers that doing so would redeem their sins and ensure they remain in good health. If somebody were to try to exit the group, Wu would harass them with a barrage of calls and threaten their downfall. The fearful follower would then return to the group and face severe punishment. So this happened to one of Wu's victims. Wu punished her on one occasion with a bundle of 5 canes, hitting her in the face and head repeatedly and striking one of her eyes. The woman felt a sharp pain and saw a flash before falling to the ground. When she told Wu about the pain, Wu responded by asking her to use some holy water to wash her eyes and to drink the liquid. She also instructed the victim to stare directly at the sun. She was forbidden by Wu to seek medical attention and only did so later, lying to the doctor that the injury was sustained from a fall. Between March and April 2020, Wu found out that the victim had visited her own mother without informing her. Wu then told another follower to use a pair of pliers to pull out 3 of the victim's teeth. Out of fear of suffering the same fate, they did as instructed. Wu's arrest. It was only in mid-2020 when a few followers lodged police reports against her, saying that they had been extensively abused physically, lost their life savings to her, and had taken extensive bank loans they could not repay. Wu was arrested in October 2020. She was escorted to court in a white shirt and blue mask. One of her family members or friends who attended the court hearing remarked that she had lost weight. Some of Wu's victims also attended the hearing. She was assessed by the Institute of Mental Health and found to be suffering from paranoid schizophrenia at the time of her offences. She was found to be cognizant of the illegality of all her acts. Her acts of cheating were also found to be deliberate and within her control. On June 19, 2024, she was sentenced to 10 years and 6 months jail. She pleaded guilty in May to 3 counts of assault and 2 cheating charges. Another 45 charges were taken into consideration for sentencing. And as for the stolen amount of money, she has repaid $675,000. Most of the reports mentioned in this video happened from 2018 to 2020, with not much information on what happened in the years of 2012 to 2017. It could be that she spent that time building up the trust in her victims and focused on monetary gains, and had started to get more confident as time went on, which may have led her to deal out more physical punishments, or that the victims were not able to recount them. No one knowingly joins cults. Wu Meiho preyed on those who needed help, knowing that most of them were hopeful she would do something for them or their sick relatives. She exploited them for her personal financial gain, controlling almost every aspect of their lives, isolating followers from their loved ones by moving them in, distorting their perceptions of reality, and convincing them that her actions were justified.